Welcome back to another video with US Vaquero. Today we're going to be talking about New York State compliant semi-automatic rifles. They're extremely regulated in the state. The AR-15 is almost impossible to get in the configuration that you would like because you would need to either have the shop solder the magazine to it or have it be a special model that only like two companies make. Only Ruger and Smith and Wesson really make a New York compliant. Somebody like that. It's too random. Um, American companies make New York compliant AR-15s. There's not much out there, and if you're looking for a semi-automatic rifle in New York State, you're gonna run into a huge issue if you just want a detachable magazine because you can't have a pistol grip with a detachable magazine. So the solution is to get something that doesn't, such as what I have in front of you guys today. And we're going to talk about a few of the other options that aren't on the table and that you can get instead of the AR platform, and that they're New York State legal, because that's also a pretty big issue. Now, there are others, but they're pretty hard to find. So I pretty much narrowed it down to about six. These aren't pistol caliber carbines because those are there. Those are out there as well. And I believe only like Ruger, maybe one other, Chiappa, and somebody else make a New York State legal carbine. But it's slim pickings, slim pickings. So when it comes to, if you want a big caliber semi-automatic rifle, want it to be New York compliant, New York legal, I've only found really two good options that are available for New Yorkers, and that would be the modern day bar or the modern day Browning automatic or assault rifle, whatever they used to call it. But the modern day one is clearly semi-automatic, and it's one of the only options you have in New York State for a 308 or a 30-06. A 30-06 does seem a little bit overwhelming. Now, in those calibers, you do have older offerings such as the uh, Remington 7400 and rifles of that caliber. But as far as new goes, the BAR is one of the only ones. The other alternative to the BAR is the M1A, which comes in 308, and the M1A is basically an M14 without the select fire. So it's did you say M14 clone or the civilian version of the M14? If you like to use that kind of nomenclature. Um, Now, at one point in New York State, you can get certain Russian offerings that were New York State legal that were pretty decent. We're talking about like your SKSs, and when I was younger, you can get I believe the Norinco SKSs were kind of almost in every gun swap and gun meet you went to and stuff like that, and they still are, but not at the price you used to see them in store shelves before, and not at the quantity. And the other Russian offering that is still out there, you can still find it used, but barely anyone sells it if they have it. Is the Ishma Saga rifles. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but I'll get a picture in there so you guys can see what I'm talking about. And it's pretty much a AK without the pistol grip. If you didn't think the SKS was already that, but the Saga is almost that. It's a sporterized AK, kind of meant for hunting and that kind of stuff. So it's pretty much an AK with a stock like this one, as I probably already showed you guys in the video. Now, we get to 5.56, which is the most popular AR-15 caliber variants that are out there. Most of them are in 5.56, and 5.56 kind of became, I believe, either the Army standard or the military standard for a little bit, or and it might still be. I don't know. I'm not a military expert, but 5.56 is really popular. You know, if you run to stores and try to find them on store shelves right now, you'll be hard pressed to find some. You, the last time I checked, you can still order small quantities here and there online, but that's what's the most popular AR. So now you might be struggling to find a New York compliant AR and decided to kind of get a rifle that's built that way. Now, you really only kind of have two options in New York State, and your first option is the Ruger Mini 14. The Ruger Mini 14 is great. It doesn't have the best accuracy, especially compared to the AR platform. Um, you might say it's a little bit easier to use because it might be a little bit easier to clear jams. Sometimes in the AR platform, you can mess stuff up if you hit the wrong thing. Not likely, but it is. You know, the Mini 14 can be a little bit more user friendly. It does have proprietary magazines, which does suck, to say the least. Um, but yeah, that's the Ruger Mini 14. Now, your other option, which is kind of the one that I tend to, or the one that I clearly purchased and tend to lean forward, is the SU-16. This is a gun that turns into, well, it has a bipod. So it's forearm turns into a bipod. And it is a little bit clunky. It is one of the more clunkier guns I own. But this is a great option, especially for shit hit the fan situations and carrying a second gun and that kind of thing. It is a great weapon. Now, you might be asking why, and I tend to have this problem a lot. If you don't pull both of these back at the same amount of strength, you'll kind of get it to where only one side, as you guys can see, comes out. And it can be a bit of a frustrating weapon to use. So it is an alternative to the AR-15. But getting the bad aside, it is a simple, it kind of runs like an AK, except it's not. It doesn't have the endurance an AK does or the reliability. It kind of just has more or less the system and runs, you know. So it's a gas operated, long stroke, basic AK AR hybrid, you can call it, but it's New York State legal. And it has quite a bit of weird things it does, like you can hold magazines back here, even though I don't recommend these, and I hate getting the magazines out of here. They just don't ever really sit right. I mean, even putting them back, that time it went in smooth, but most times it doesn't. The big up to owning an SU-16 is that you can interchange with AR mags, and that's highly important because that means that you can have a backup AR-15, maybe in pieces, you know, maybe. And if the time needs to, you can just put your AR-15 together, because it's not illegal to own a lower receiver, but it is illegal to have it together. So it's a nice gun to have for the in-between. And with this rifle, it is picky for ammo, and I think that's just because it has reliability issues. It's made out of not the best plastic. It's definitely not FN plastic. It's you can see that the plastic is not of the highest quality. I had tend to find that American Eagle black box does the job. It is cheaper ammo. It's brass casings, so it's not the super cheap steel, but it does do the job. Avoid the factory magazines for the Kel-tec SU16. They're not that great. Instead, get yourself a P mag. They come like this. You can cover your magazine, and they pretty much fit an AR-15. They're marketed as AR-15 mags. You can't go wrong with these. They're pretty tough. Get yourself a pair of these, and this gun won't run half bad. But that's it. New York is a barren wasteland, and the 6 rifles I mentioned today are probably the only semi-automatic rifles I would get. And, you know, most of them aren't super tactical as it is. They're sporterized rifles, so they have succeeded in suppressing our gun rights in this area. So get what you can get while you can get it, unfortunately. But besides that, sorry to end on a bad note, but you guys have a nice day.